Our top story this morning, it is the end of an era. The Richard and Helen DeVos Foundation is sunsetting its work after 54 years.
During its half of a century of existence, that organization gifted a combined $1.1 billion to more than 11,000 organizations. You can see some of those charities right behind us scrolling there.
Our Josh Berry spoke with those closest to Rich and Helen who say that community was really key to their giving.
You can title me youngest son of Richard and Helen DeVos. That'll aggravate him.
For the record, Dick DeVos is the oldest of the 4 children of Richard and Helen. We talked to him and the actual youngest sibling, Doug. Despite that age difference, it's interesting to hear how similar they speak about their parents with one common theme.
They shared what they were doing. They encouraged us to be givers.
Mom and Dad always encouraged us, and they spent their time being encouragers.
To form our own foundations, to follow our own passions, to go and be a part of the community in ways that mattered to us, not to carry their legacy forward.
When you grow up and you watch your parents live it, you say, well, I want to follow in their example. I want to do a lot of the things that they do. I may do it a little differently. I may not lean into that one as much as another one.
Their parents' giving was wide-ranging, but have 5 main areas of focus: arts and culture, healthcare, education, economic development, and faith.
I think it's almost impossible to imagine this community without them.
The family's legacy and their name are felt and seen everywhere. The areas of focus now branded with their name on it, primarily because of the money, but also because this was their home.
Giving and staying and engaging locally was an enormous gift to West Michigan.
And they gave more than money.
It was more than just philanthropy. It was leadership. It was engagement. They were involved hands-on with this community. They cared deeply about this community. They didn't just write checks. They also came with ideas.
A sentiment echoed by the people they worked closely with.
Their reach was worldwide with their philanthropy, but they never neglected their local community.
Don Lubbers is the former president of Grand Valley State University. He served from 1969 to 2001. A fixture of his tenure was the working relationship with Richard and Helen DeVos. Yes, their money played a big part.
The gifts ranged mostly from, I think, a high of $12 million to a low of $500,000.
But it extends far beyond that. Richard DeVos was appointed to the Board of Control for GVSU, and then he and Helen became co-chairs of the University Foundation.
Instead of being a person that you went to ask for money for a campaign, he would be right at the center of the campaign.
That's a pretty good person to have, right?
So it was a wonderful person to have.
Helen passed away in 2017 at the age of 90. Richard the next year at the age of 92. And now, as they intended, the vessel through which they made such an impact, their foundation, is sunsetting, leaving room for the next generation of giving.
With the foundation sunsetting at their decision was to say to the community, okay, it's your turn now.
Well, family says the Richard and Helen DeVos Foundation was really never meant to live on forever. The couple just wanted to make as much of an impact as possible during their time on Earth. And this sunsetting, it's an opportunity for other community leaders, including their own kids, to continue the culture of giving in West Michigan. Our coverage of that announcement will continue all day long. So coming up in the next half hour, we're going to hear how Helen's love of music helped transform a community orchestra into an institution.